Okay, I got asked this by a couple of guys, and I thought it's an interesting topic, so let me make a video of it. Um, do you know that most of you struggle with competition? You don't know how to compete. You don't know how to beat the guys who have a lot of budgets, a lot of marketing budgets, a lot of investment capital behind them. And you always think, how can I beat this guy? How can I be better than this guy? He has so much more money, so much more funding behind him. Well, yeah, we always hear the David and Goliath story, right? But sometimes you get too caught up with it and you don't really need to be caught up with it. Why? Because how would you try and compete with someone who's actually bigger than you? Who's actually capable of doing more things than you. So you can't just wake up on the side of your bed thinking, I've got great motivation, I've listened to a lot of good, interesting speakers online, and now I can go compete with Apple. No, you can't. What you need to do is, the first thing on good business strategy is to try and position yourself correctly. You need to understand what is the position that makes you look good, okay, in front of others, because that positioning helps you develop your market, and that's how customers are going to come to you. That's how investors are going to be attracted to you. How do you position yourself is far more important than how do you compete with your competitors. Then you need to ask yourself, before you figure out your position, what are you really trying to sell? You need to be very clear about that. Your story has to be very good. You see, storytelling is far much more bigger than advertising campaigns and marketing budget. You need to have a good story. So what are you trying to sell? What's your story, and how are you positioning yourself? You'd rather focus on one or maybe two things rather than doing everything. You know, some of you think that if I do a lot of things, then I'll get a good enough bottom line. No, you will not. You'll just incur a lot of expenses, and at the end, you would be beaten by the guy with the big budget, by the guy with the good funding. So it's important for you to focus on what you can do well. If you are in a struggle about should you focus more on position or on size, well, I would advise you to focus more on position, because size is most certainly going to kill you. You need to position yourself correctly, and you need to be good at what you're doing, because whatever you do, at the end of the day, if you're good at something, then you will be great at it. And most importantly, all of you need to understand, success comes from vision. You need to have a very good vision as well. So if you know the story of Starbucks, the owners of Starbucks didn't have a great vision. Howard Schultz did, and he came in from a trip from Italy, and he transformed the whole concept of coffee drinking. Coffee was always sold in America. Coffee was always in every diner in the world, in America in particular. But how did Howard Schultz take that whole coffee business and make it into a coffee experience? So always remember, the story you're selling is very important. The way you're pitching is very important, and how you're positioning yourself is completely important. So don't try to compete. Try to constantly position yourself on the strongest points that you have and the strongest positions that you have. That will certainly allow you a lot of more winning in your experience as an entrepreneur. I hope this video helps.